Two, one, two, one, two, one, two. Bear Truth is in the building. How y'all feeling, man? What's up? What's up? What's up? Sunday. What's the word out there? Just chilling. That's what's good. That's what's good, man. Oh man, another Sunday. You see, I got my bottle in effect, but while I'm taking that off, man, let me get the glasses so we get the glare out of there. Everybody can hear me. Make sure y'all tap in, man, just in case somebody might want to pull up and say some cool stuff. I might send you that link. So we're gonna talk about it. But listen, man, before we get started today, let's just take a minute, man, and I want to say I send my condolences out to the Clay family. I know our church and Gospel Mission Temple, they had the services for Sister Clay. And so I'm not for sure if they're related to my cousin Roxanne and Tanaka Clay, Vera, and some of them. But I still want to just say shout out to the Clay family that, we definitely gonna be keeping you in our prayers. And also to my man Little Mike. I know that his mom's funeral was yesterday. And so sending my condolences out to the Legron family and rest in peace to Wilma Legron. I've never had the pleasure to meet his mom, but I know, little Mike is good people. You dig what I'm saying? Whenever we see each other in the street, it's always a mutual love for each other, man. And so I'm definitely gonna be keeping you in my prayers, bro. Keep your head up. Love y'all over here at the Bear Truth. I know I grew up with Willie Legron. He used to live out on 72nd, back in the days and stuff like that, man. But I cut a few people hair that was headed to his mom's funeral. And so I just wanted to send my condolences out to Mike LeGrone, little Mike, you know what I mean? And God bless you, man. Rest in peace to your OG. Um, Rest in peace to Cleo, man. You dig what I'm saying? A real good dude. Me and Rico, we were super tight because Rico and Nick, my little cousin, was super tight. And so, me and Rico, man, we go way back. So, you like my little brother, man. And so I know I can't take the place of your big bro, but you still got some big bros out here. Just remember that, man. And you know where I'm at. So if you ever need me, just let me know. I wanted to get over there to that funeral, but unfortunately, it was so many funerals yesterday, man. And I just so happened to be the barber, you know. And so sometimes, I gotta call of duty. I gotta stick to the script, man. And so thank God for the barbershop. It went down. But condolences out to Rico. And man, rest in peace to Cleo, man. Young brother that was out here. Everybody know Cleo, man, and everybody know his display out in the streets with the cars, with his car gang, fresh dress code. You dig what I'm saying? We definitely gonna miss you out here, B. And Rico, man, we got you. We got your back, man. We love you. You dig what I'm saying? If it's anything that you need from me, man, I'm here for you, man. So, shout out to you and your whole family, man, and God bless y'all. So if it's anybody else that, lost somebody in the last couple of weeks, man, just know, man, that when I pray, I just be lifting up everybody families, man. And I'm just praying that, um, y'all just draw closer to God because it ain't really no words that you can say. Rico, I know how you feel about your brother. Me and my big brother, we wasn't as tight as you and Cleo, but I lost my brother when I was in prison and I wasn't able to go to the funeral because he was in Indianapolis, man. And so, my heart goes out to you. There's nothing I can really say to my brother, little Mike, because, I can't understand that pain. The only thing I can say to you, bro, is that I'm praying for you. God bless you. Keep your head up. And hey, man, the Bear Truth salute y'all. So you already know my motto for what's up with this right here. You dig what I'm saying? We already gonna keep the little bottle going. So I've been checking out this little Myers. Little hands kind of like lotioned up, so I got to get that one cracking. But listen, um, the topic today, and happy birthday to anybody that might have a birthday. You dig what I'm saying? If you got a birthday and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying. The Bear Truth salutes you. Uh, it's a lot that went down this weekend. The fights. I didn't even really get a chance to see who did their thing on the fights. You dig what I'm saying? Okay, there we go. All right. But I'm hoping that Chino, I'm hoping that my little brother Najee, that they did their thing. Anybody went to the fights, they said that the fights went kind of crazy. They said they got into a fight at the fights. Yeah, you love that. You dig what I'm saying? So they got into a fight at the fights. I'm hoping everybody was safe, man. But the little brothers, man, that was doing their thing. Um, you know, I was supporting them, you know what I mean, from afar. I wanted to go to a lot of stuff yesterday, man. Unfortunately, them clippers didn't stop cutting, man, until like about 8:30. I think my last haircut left at about 8:27 yesterday, and that's real. And so I got to be thankful to God that He even blessed me to have somebody that needed me. You know what I mean? And so I kind of missed out on a lot of stuff, and then I winded up just chilling at the crib. So that's how that go. But thank y'all, man, for tapping in tonight, man. The bare truth. Today I'm gonna talk about a little something, man. I think we kind of covered it probably like months ago, or maybe like last year. And so since we're getting ready to go into like the third month, man, of the year, I felt it was kind of like cool to maybe double back and just talk about some stuff, man. If anybody seen, you know what I mean, the little commercial, I was saying exchange. What would you exchange for change? You dig what I'm saying? Um, because no matter what happens, when you start living enough in this life, like say for instance, if you feel like you want some grown man, grown woman type stuff, you done had your own apartment, maybe you're a parent, maybe you got some kids, you come through your 20s, you get to your 30s, you in your 30s, you somewhere in your early 30s, mid 30s or late 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. At some point in your life, man, it's some stuff that's going on in your life that you just like, what I mean? I wish that I wasn't going through this, exchange people exchange my time, laughing but very seriously, exchange my time. I can dig that. Um, but I was coming more on the level of what would you exchange for change? You know what I mean? Um, because anytime you get ready to change, something's got to happen. You see a lot of people that do like the New Year's resolutions and stuff like that, and they'll start talking about like at the beginning of the year. Hold on, one time, turn up for Christ or burn up for Lord. We get that out the way because we needed that. This is a Myers sparkling Chablis. So that's the white grape juice. But meanwhile, so listen to this. You get people that make like New Year's resolutions, or it seems like every top of the year when it going to like a new year, whether you make a New Year's resolution, sometimes you just want to do something new, you know? Uh I know this year I had last year was kind of like my first year being free. So this year, one of my goals was to really tighten up this relationship with God. Um I got a relationship with God, and I don't know how everybody else feel about God, or what y'all doing in your life. But one of the things I meant by that is that I wanted to tighten up on like little bitty spots where I get lazy or get slack, like with your prayer life, and I want to be able to hear from you. And another thing that I wanted to change is just like this year I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I really wanted to do my own business. I had, coming home, I was blessed with a job with Sterilite. And so it was like the job was good, they was paying good money. But sometimes, man, it's a miserable thing, man, to go to work and you don't like what you do. You know what I mean? Has anybody ever felt like that? It's like, man, you punching in on the clock, it's a check, but it's like, man, you hate your job. I'm talking about it was sometimes, man, I was literally standing in one of the IP lines, and I was just like, man, just standing on that line. My feet was hurting so bad, my back was hurting so bad that like when I got off work, it was just like I couldn't do nothing else, man. It was just like, man, I hate this job. And I remember praying. I was like, God, please, you know, I can't quit because I got bills, but please give me something that I like to do or like, love to do. Because when you find a job that you kind of like or you like love it, it's like you going to work and you ain't really working because that's what you like doing. Like when I got people in the barber chair and I'm cutting their hair and we having a conversation, I got a guy named Bruce. Hey, what's up, Sarah? What's going down? You you cracked that one little joke that was online. Sarah had a little joke that said that dark skinned guys get steak, lobsters, and crab, and light skinned dudes get Pop Tarts. You pissed somebody off with that. One dude was mad at you, but by me being dark skinned, I had to big up Sarah for that one. I thought that was cool though, because a lot of times, ladies, if I ever inbox you and speak to you, something like that, please believe I looked at your page. You got like some positive messages. You might say something about God, or something like that. And then that way I'll try to introduce myself. And then that way we can be cool. You can check out the podcast because iron sharpens iron, man. And I'm always, trying to be positive. So if I'm gonna say something positive, it's cool like that. I thought that was funny though, Sarah. But so okay. I got a guy that come and he jump in the chair. "What's up, Lakeisha?" "Yes, I hated Arconic even though" hold on, I'm gonna post this one real quick because I wanna hear what she said. I wanna show y'all. She says, "I hated Arconic even though the money was good." Hell yeah, that money good. You dig what I'm saying? Arconic, one of the best jobs in the quad. She said, "Took TD Jake's book to work and read it on break, and I knew it was time for me to get back to braiding full time. Also helped me realize my God-given purpose." Amen to that. Now, I'm gonna speak to what she just said, but let me just give you like a little brief story of what I was talking about. Okay, so I had a guy. He comes through and he gets his hair cut. Now this guy's like, I shave his head, I put the hot rag on his hair and stuff like that. And he's one of my top paying customers, right? And so, every time he comes to town because he drive trucks, he slides through. You know what I'm saying? I shave him up, give him the bald head. He likes the way I do his beards. And so, but when he jumps in a chair, he's used to me and him having this conversation. Like, he tells me things about his personal life that he won't speak to nobody else about. And then I get a chance, okay, we get to swap ideas. I get a chance to tell him about some stuff. And so one time I had a friend that was over and they was reading a book. And she was just chilling. I don't think she didn't mean no harm or nothing like that. But when he came by, see, my haircuts go by appointments. And so what he was like saying, I hadn't seen him in a while. And he was just like, "Man, I used to love it when I used to come and get my hair cut by you. And it would just be me and you." He's like, "Cause I had stuff that I had to speak to you about, you know what I mean? And stuff like that." And so I had to be mindful that when I started okay, when you jump in my chair, if you call me, you make an appointment, whatever time I tell you, I try to get y'all to stay on time because I want that to be your time. I want you to jump in the chair when you say you're gonna jump in the chair so that way I can get you out and get you out of here. But what was so special about his time is that he felt like this was his time to open up and chop it up. So, when you shaving somebody's hair, it takes a little time. And not only that, I put the hot rag on him, I shave him, I put the lotion on his head, I give him like a little head rub and stuff like that. And he's a Christian brother. So, you know what I'm saying? He been in prison, I've been in prison, so we get to chop it up. Make a long story short, I did not know really that he felt like this was his time to dump. Like, "Bear, like when I come and jump in your chair with you, buddy, this is my time to dump. And this is when I get a chance to do this." And so not only do I do the podcast, but I got people that be looking at me like, I really love our conversation time. You know what I mean? And so I had to be mindful of that. Like, so when I schedule him, I try to box him out because he pay good. Not only does he pay good, but I try to box him out so I can give him that time. And then it just started letting me know, like Keisha just said. Keisha said, she read the T.D. Jake books, and then God had to let her know she had to get back to Braden because that's her God given purpose. And then I keep telling y'all, nobody ever taught me how to cut hair. My mama was a beautician and I just started cutting hair. But when you do cut hair and it's something that you're good at, like Keisha said, this is a God-given purpose. Now when you doing it, it don't even feel like you doing it. Cause while I'm shaving his head and chopping it up, we chopping so much, we talking so much, and the conversation is so real that time just fly. You dig what I'm saying? Have you ever been in one of those moments like when you doing something you love to be doing and it's supposed to be work, but all of a sudden, man, time just fly. And it's like, damn, man, we just had a blast. And you know what I mean? Got paid for it. And at the same time, we chopped it up. And so that's what I was meaning by that. You dig what I'm saying? By getting your purpose together and figuring out in life, like, what am I called to do? Remember, I told y'all like last week, uh, basically what she's saying, like right now, like a job is your salary. But then again, what was you created for? What are you put here on this earth to do? And then sometimes when you start figuring it out, like, okay, all right, here's a way I try to tell this to y'all all the time. Hold on, real quick. Turn up for Christ or burn up for life. That's my motto, 2023, baby. For real, for real. Listen, anything that you're passionate about, if it's something that's on your heart and you sleep, when you go to sleep, you dream about it. When you wake up, you breathe it. Anytime you see it or anytime that you do it, it just feels right. You know what I mean? When your heart yearns for it or it burns for it like that, if it's like a passion, if it's something that you love to do and it just comes so natural for you, that's probably your calling that God has given you. You know what I mean? And sometimes you got to come into a part of life where you just feel like, you know what I'm about to do? um, I'm gonna change and make sure that I'm doing what I'm called to be doing. I ain't gonna just be living just to be living. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna tell you something. And again, I'm not taking no shots at nobody, but man, the DOC just hit me for like 15 years, man. I just did 14 years and 8 months in a box. And I'm seeing some people who still doing the same thing that they was doing before I got locked up. And I'm talking about haven't moved not like one bit. Maybe addresses might change, something like that. But man, you still in the same position. She in the same position and stuff like that. What's up, Loco Los? And you still doing the same thing. And today when I said, okay, what will you exchange for change? I'm asking you the serious question, like, what is it going to take for you to say, all right, no more of this. I ain't doing this one no more. Because listen, it's some things that are in your life. Okay. One of the things that I wrote down, and let's just speak about it from this topic. You got to be willing to look at your life through a magnifying glass. And what I mean by that is just like saying, don't nobody know you like you. You know what I mean? You can go to the club, you can throw on the fanciest clothes, you can throw on J's, you can dress up in jewelry, you can put on your makeup, you can get your hair did, your nails done, whatever you want to do, and you can fake it to people. But at night, when you get to yourself, only you know you and you know where you ain't right at. You dig what I'm saying? Like you could lie to some of the people some of the time, or some of the people most of the time, but you can't lie to God none of the time, and you can't lie to yourself none of the time. So there's something going on in your life. Ain't none of us perfect. That sometimes you just got to figure it out. You got to be able to say, "Listen, man, I'm effed up over here on this situation right here." And if it's a situation that's kind of shameful to you, find you like an accountability or like a support partner, somebody that you can rap to. Like, you know what I mean? You can sit down and chop it up. My man Loco Los, we talk about everything. You dig what I'm saying? Me and G Nice, we rap about everything. That's the reason why me and G Nice did the ball head nuts, because it's just like we ain't gotta be fake with each other. It's like, fam, I went through this. You dig what I'm saying? Like Loco Los, when if Loco Los asked me any question about what I was in prison for, whatever the whole rundown is, I gotta give it to him raw because that's my dude. You dig what I'm saying? And so once I give it to him raw, I know he ain't gonna judge me, but if it's a tip or a pointer that he can point out, he gonna do it. And so you gotta have somebody in your corner like that. And if nothing else, though, it's gotta start with you. You gotta be accountable for you. Cause can't nobody make you, you know what I mean, be real. You know what I mean? It's just like you got certain people, and again, I ain't picking on nobody that's got like bad habits. Like, man, if you stealing from people and that's been your MO for the longest, and you ain't trying to change, it's just like, fam, when are you going? I mean, what are you going to exchange for the change? You dig? Is it going to be like this where you're going to keep on stealing to the point where it's going to get you locked up in prison, or either you're going to steal from the wrong person and they going to kill you? You could be a liar. You dig what I'm saying? Like you could lie, you know what I mean? You can't lie to yourself none of the time. You can't lie to God. So one time you're gonna dig yourself into a hole and you ain't gonna be able to get out of it. You dig what I'm saying? Or sometimes it's gonna come down to the point where you're gonna be telling the truth and you're gonna really want somebody to believe you, but you already got the MO as a liar. You know, what is it gonna take for you to stop being lazy and get up and get out here and get busy? You can't just keep laying around being stagnant every day, fam. People is getting up and going to work, and jobs is out here. There's opportunity, there's jobs. What is it going to take for you to get out the streets trying to be a D-boy, trying to keep up with that status? Okay, cool. You didn't put some rims on a couple of cars, you didn't got them painted, you didn't threw some beat in them, you didn't showed up to the club pounding, you didn't put a couple of girls in the car, you dig what I'm saying? They didn't roll with you, you know what I mean? Y'all looking nice, y'all doing it to death. But what you going to exchange for that change? Because I'm going to tell you something. Them people coming to see you. For real, for real. They coming. I ain't never seen not one D boy not get no prison time. I don't care how long the run is. And so anything I could tell you, you know what I mean, if your run has been long thus far, do something with that money, man, and make it to the point where you can get away from that. You dig what I'm saying? Because if you're a hustler, it should be easy for you to transition and be a hustler at any level of the game. You should be able to take that hustle and turn it into, you know what I mean, flipping houses. You dig what I'm saying? I was talking to Paper Paul and he was talking about these pallets and stuff like that. I'm finna pick his brain on some different things, just to say, okay, um, keeping a couple of different hustles going on about yourself. Tomorrow, man, I'm gonna try to get my sister Grace on here, man, and we're gonna talk about different things. Because one thing I gotta respect about her is Big Sister's a hustler. You dig what I'm saying? And we grew up hard. Last time she was on the show, I was telling you, man, like we did a few things, you know what I mean, against the grain to make a few ends meet. But as she got older, she hit the army. She always kept the job. She always kept a clean crib. Her credit was up to par. You know what I mean? And even when she was struggling, you know what I mean, she stayed a survivor and fighter. But she always keep like some side hustles going on. Like she worked at the airport. She retired from the military. Stand up comedian. All of a sudden, she writing books. You know what I'm saying? And I'm giving that to anybody, ladies, men. You got to have a couple of venues or ventures going on, man. That's gonna help you get some paper out here, man. If you just hold on to like one thing and that's your main source of money and you ain't doing nothing, you probably ain't living, you know. And here's another thing too, and this is really real. Change sometimes you have to disappear, you know. Sometimes you have to fall back and sometimes you got to leave certain people alone when you want to change. And so if you're going to talk about what would you exchange for change, what if the Quad Cities, man, is just, it ain't the place for you to be, you know? Certain people thrive down here, certain people don't. You know what I mean? I know G Nice, he moved away. It's a few people that to move down to the ATL. My niece and my nephew and them, they done moved down to the ATL. You dig what I'm saying? Make it for peace. Okay, that's G Nice. But yeah, they done moved down to the ATL. I done dipped before and moved down to the ATL. I done dipped out and moved to NAP. You dig what I'm saying? And just for the experience to see something else, just to be in a city vibe, to just see people getting up every day, getting caught in that busy traffic. Man, if you ever been in the ATL during traffic time, it's the worst. But the main thing about being caught up in traffic time, everybody getting off work, everybody hustling and bustling, they grinding. You know what I mean? And sometimes you can be around here for so long, you can get stagnant or complacent, and you just sit around here, and the Quad Cities will swallow you up because I'm gonna keep it real. I love the crib, I love to cross the bridge because that's where this started from. Most of my people they from Mississippi and Indianapolis, Indiana. But you know what I mean? We started right there in Illinois, Rock Island, Illinois. We didn't live in every projects in Rock Island. Then we moved across the bridge. So I got love for both sides, the town and the D. But sometimes, man, it's so much hate around here. It's so much negativity that it's like, man, you gotta get away if you want to try something different. You gotta move away. I'm gonna play this quote real quick from my man. Well, I'm gonna save it until I get to the last part. But I got this little thing by Pac, and Pac says something different. But listen to this though. If you're from the Quad Cities and you ain't never went nowhere, that's just like, you know, um, if it's time for you graduate in high school. If you get the opportunity to go to college like in Iowa City or out of the state, man, take that chance. I was just talking to somebody the other day, a young guy, and he's matter of fact, he's my little nephew, little Marty. Marty's one of his sons. And like again, once I get these little kids in the chair, and I be cutting their hair, I always be giving them conversation. I'll be picking their brain like what's going on. And so right now, you know what I mean, I'll be fading him up. And so he's doing the ROTC thing. I think he's up there at Central High School. And so when I said, okay, so when you get done with that, I said, what you gonna do? You gonna join into the military or something like that? And he was like, yeah. I said, so shit, which way are you gonna go? You gonna do the Army? You gonna do the Air Force? You know what I mean? The Marines? He was like, yeah, he wanted to go with the Marines, And I was just like, yeah, that's dope. And see, a lot of times, remember when I had Pook on here, K Still, we was talking about it, and I asked him like what was one of the things that he liked about the army. And he said that the military taught him discipline. He said when he was in the streets, his life was so reckless that when he jumped in the military, it slowed him down and it made him start having respect, standing on respect and morals. That's that change. What are you willing to exchange for change, man? Sometimes, man, what's up, cuz? What are you willing to exchange for change? Man, if you take a magnifying glass, the reason why I said that, if you look at something, only thing it does, it blows it up and it don't hide nothing. You can look inside that magnifying glass and you can see everything that's going on. So how many people really do that with their life? You know what I mean? Sometimes analyze your life. Now, if you walking around and you blowing all day, you popping pills and you drinking, when you get sober, I'm inviting you, fam, sit down and look at your life. Look at your bank account. Look at the progress that you have made from 2021 to 2022 and what's happening in 2023. Are you on the right start? Are you really headed to something that's prosperous? Or are you still stuck in the mud? You still doing the same thing? You dig what I'm saying? Look at the people that you hanging with. If your circle ain't moving and ain't nobody doing nothing and they ain't trying to grow and they ain't trying to, man, listen, you might just have to get out the Quad Cities. You might just have to fall back from a relationship from somebody else. You might even have to change jobs. And sometimes, man, everybody can't go with you on your destiny, B. So you- I hate to tell you, man, sometimes you just got to cut people off, and it is what it is. And don't be afraid to. For what? Listen, I'm gonna tell you something. My kids is grown and I love my kids to death. But this is an honest God true story. I can only love them so much and try to help them go whichever route that they want to go. But they grown now. I can't force nobody to do nothing that they don't want to do. At the end of the day, now that they grown, and I hate to say it, I miss so much time of their life that it hurts, that it sucks. But I gotta get me together. If I don't get me together, I can't even be no good for them. So ain't no sense of me trying to call myself a father if I don't pump the brakes and say, hey, listen, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing none of that. Anything y'all think is extravagant or, flossing, being fly. Mm-mm. Pop's about to fall back and get himself together. I'm about to get my bank account together, my credit together. I'm about to really take my barbershop serious, my business, whether it's doing the nightgowns and the socks, which is on their way, seeing some of the proofs like last week. The socks are so hardcore. So yeah, you see the portraits, you see the barbershop. I'm saying grinding, grinding, grinding. And what I'm trying to give to y'all, that some of y'all, man, you got to figure it out. It's peasy. You just jumped on here and you said facts, but you live in proof. Fam was here. We just did time in a joint. That's my man I was telling you about in a joint that was throwing the basketball tournaments. Straight up, real live hustler. You dig what I'm saying? Was right here in the Quad Cities. Had a couple of things that was just crashing in on him. Little stuff over here, little stuff over there. That's me and his talk. You know what I'm saying? Boom. I see the pictures that you posting now, SPZ. You in the gym working out, hitting the phone, the little meals and stuff that you cooking that you got on the table. Had to leave from Iowa, taking his auntie up on an offer, moving to his auntie's house. She loves art. I don't know, I think she's a doctor. So I don't, whatever the lady is, his auntie is, she about her business. And you know what I mean? Her option to him was like, listen, come over here. Here go a rest haven for you. And I'll help you do whatever you want to do as long as you just get away from the street life per se. I'm paraphrasing. I don't know what their conversation was. I'm just trying to give y'all the backdrop. SPZ left his crib. I don't care what kind of female he might have had. I'm telling you, I cut his hair right before he left. He took her up on that option and he blew the spot. You dig what I'm saying? And now you dig what I'm saying? When I see you taking your pictures, SPZ, I could just see the change. You know what I mean? You could see the glow in the face, the haircuts. You dig what I'm saying? You just doing stuff. And it's just like, if nothing else, it ain't gonna do nothing but make you better and make you wiser. Somebody's got to follow that. You know what I mean? You got to follow that blueprint. You got to figure that out. If the Quad Cities ain't doing nothing for you, you got a family member somewhere that's doing something big. Get out of here, man. Go somewhere with somebody else where you see them thriving and winning. Sometimes you got to change your scenery. Your guys ain't doing nothing. They sitting around buying 40s and bottles every day, playing video games. What grown man is in his 40s, man, drinking, just playing video games all day? Come on, man. And that's not a shot. I'm telling you, that's not a shot. I'm telling you, fam, because I love y'all. This is the bare truth. What you want to say, man? I'm saying, everybody got a date with death. We got to go. What do you want to have accomplished with your life before you go? Man, I'm trying to give it everything I got. I don't care what it is. And so if I got to fall back from a few people, if I got to cut a few people off, if I got to change sceneries, you know what I mean? So be it. I'm telling you, whatever it takes, I'm gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's try this one right here. It says life is 10% of what happened and 90% of what you do about it. Here it is again. Life is 10% of what happened to you, 90% of what you're gonna do about it. And so when I look at that, and some of this stuff, man, um, I get it because I read like a lot of books, and one of my biggest inspirations, man, when you talk about a bounce back story, is Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey is like the bounce back king. You dig what I'm saying? To have all those many shows on TV, but at one point in time, he lived in his car. He was homeless, and so I like Steve Harvey because I was at that point, in my life one time. I lived in Atlanta and I was chasing those record deals. And at one point in time, my family didn't even know that I was down there and I was homeless, that I had all this jewelry on, but I was sleeping with a hoodie on over my head and I was sleeping like in front of people's doors, just because I didn't want to leave, because I didn't want to come back home empty handed without that record deal. I had a management deal that moved me down to Atlanta in 1996. And he kind of did some things. He dropped the ball on, I mean, getting us into the studio when he was supposed to, or meeting up with like record companies and trying to read these contracts and stuff like that for me. And so I try to take matters into my own hand, and stuff just started blowing up in my face. I wasn't mature. And so I was doing a bunch of drinking and smoking, trying to keep up with the limelight of Atlanta, of ATL, and it was way too expensive. I'm talking about, man, I blew racks before I knew it on nothing. And most of the time it was just, jump cutting the line to get into a club just so I can rub shoulders with some of the artists, just to be in there so people can know my face. And when I was down there, one thing I was doing, I was holding my own on a rap, because like everywhere, every show that I did, or every battle contest that they had, I always took first place, or I always stood out like a sore thumb. But I just wasn't ready mentally. And so when I dropped the ball on that, it took me into like a bunch of deep drinking. And that's one of the ways that my life like spiraled out of control. You know what I mean? Coming back home and knowing that, Dr. Dre had offered me a record contract. Dungeon Family had invited me to a party because they heard my music and wanted to meet me up close and personal. Keith Murray, manager, you dig what I'm saying? Remember, he had the most beautifulest thing in this world. It's just like that. So his guys, Cheese and all of them, cool with Eric Sermon and them, they offering me money. The dude that's got August Alsina right now, Noonie from Noontime, all of these people wanted me, man. And so in '97, it was like I was hot and I was on a cloud. You dig what I'm saying? Just to have Dr. Dre sign an autograph and say, hey, and give me his A&R number and said, man, you can rap. I need you to show me that you can sell records. I need to hear a song with a chorus and a hook. And I wanted to see, what I mean, can I see you, making music? And he said, I'm gonna fuck with you. And he's like, when you get this done, send it to this dude. I'm gonna be waiting on it. He's gonna put it to the side for me. And this is what we're gonna do. And so I dropped the ball. I wound up getting locked up in Texas for writing some bad checks. And when I got out, nobody wanted to mess with me. You know what I mean? Because I didn't have it together. I didn't know how to change. I wasn't a man. You know what I mean? I was 20 something years old. I knew how to get money. I came down there off drug money, thousands of dollars, Cadillac, had my own crib on the ninth floor of Atlanta, right next to the Fox Theater. I'm talking about, I'm downtown ATL by myself in my early 20s, living, like really, really living, and dropped it all, man. And then when I dropped it, I didn't know how to handle it. So listen to what he says. Life is 10% of what happened to you, 90% of what you're going to do about it. So when I get back to Indianapolis, local lows, you remember we tore up the guy Black. I wrote a rap for my little cousin Love, and put him in the youth division, and I destroyed the other division. You know what I mean? Went on stage, went down to Nat Town and killed them. You know what I mean? On the radio. You know what I mean? WTLC, my uncle, and I'm like, was that you just on the radio? Like, that's me. And so everywhere I went, God has always let me know, like, I created you to do this. But here I am with my stupid self. Hey, auntie, what's up? I never, matter of fact, auntie, my auntie that's saying what's up when I went to jail in Texas, that's where she was at in Arlington, man. And she brought me boxes and t-shirts and stuff like that when I did those 90 days in Arlington, Texas, for writing them bad checks. And then when I got out, nobody wanted to mess with me. And to make a long story short, man, I went back to Indianapolis, and me and Local Los, we hooked up, man, and we like partied. I was still on my square on the rap game, but I don't know if I can even put this into words. There was something going on in my life where I wanted people to see me as this, but maturity and my level of thinking, I wasn't there. I had the look, I had the slick mouth to go with it, I had the raps to go with it. You dig what I'm saying? But mentally, I wasn't nowhere mature, as the look was. You dig? And if that makes you, it makes a lot of sense. He said your history is the blueprint for your destiny. I swear that's the truth. And so I just continued drinking, man, and selling dope. Cause D boys get props in the streets. You know what I mean? Like when y'all hear some of this new music, when I finally get it recorded, I'm gonna be talking about a lot of my life story, and I talk about being in the club and sleeping with, what I mean, chicks, and drinking and talking crazy to them, until finally God let my life crash. And then when he let my life crash, it's like, I did them 14 years in the joint, and then he started showing me stuff. And so now today I can really appreciate that. No matter what happened in 14 years, what happened in the ATL, all of that, I could talk y'all to death about that. I can tell you stories about kicking it with Tupac's sister. chilling out with special ed, smoking weed with special ed, being in the studio with George Clinton and P Funk. I could tell you all of this shit. But at the end of the day, it's still 90% what you gonna do about it. Yeah. As long as you waking up, if God wake you up every day, that's a privilege. Everybody ain't waking up today. Yesterday there was just 3 funerals of some people that I know, they closest loved ones, you know what I mean, who didn't wake up. And so it was funerals all over the place. I mean, it kept me busy in the barbershop. So listen to me. If you woke up today, you privileged. So you can boo-hoo and boo-ha about what happened to you in your past, or such and such did this, or they did that, or did nobody give me this, or did nobody give me that. Okay, that's cool. Now what you gonna do about it though? How you gonna bounce back from that? You dig what I'm saying? Because the money is out here. There's money all over the world. There's free money and there's workable money. So I don't care if it's grants, student loans, you're trying to go to school, trying to pick up your career, you can do that. You dig what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, if you're willing to get up and go work, there's hella jobs out here. So what you gonna do? You know what I mean? And there's it's all kind of stuff. Let me see. What did he say? Oh, what's up, my dude? Hey, and I gotta tell you, this dude was a blessing to me. You know, Sugar Bear, you're blessed in 2023, bro, to know God is good. Come on, Pook. You already know. You dig what I'm saying? That man has saved my life more in more ways than one. You dig what I'm saying? And I gotta tell you, that's been my dude since we was little kids. His cousin Gus that passed, man. Rest in peace to my man Gus. That was my best friend, you know, when we moved over to Davenport. So I've always been close to the Hodges and the Glenn family, man. Shout out to y'all. Y'all been like our second family. We was here. Them and the Hicks. You dig what I'm saying? But shout out, Poop. I love you, my dude. We done been to the joint. We done been in the county. We done been everywhere. We done been on the block. So he know it. But I want y'all to remember that though. Please remember that. Life is 10% of what happened to you, 90% of what you're gonna do about it. Try to apply that to, you know what I mean, to your everyday life. When you looking back, instead of keeping yourself in this rut, talking about woe is me and oh, I ain't this and that, or you had the silver spoon, or looking at somebody else, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's been a lot of things that make me mad. Even since I done came home or where I felt like, you know, I felt like such and such should have did this and that. I could tell you some stuff that I'm going on through right now on child support, how child support is affecting the insurance license. And no matter how much love I feel like I showed a person, you cannot make nobody do what you want them to do. It's all about what you gonna do with that 90%. You dig what I'm saying? What can you do and how you gonna figure that out? I already talked about waking up is a privilege. Now listen to this that a person gave me. It's very simple, but it makes sense. It says nothing is impossible. It says now take the impossible and separate the first 2 letters, and that's I am. And he said and start reading it like that. I'm possible. And I had to think about it now. Okay, it might sound stupid, you know what I mean, or corny or cheesy, but nothing is impossible. Now you might tell somebody that and they might like, okay, whatever. But then again, when you take it and you separate the 2 words and you say, I'm possible, it's like, man, you feeding yourself into like a lot of energy. He says, love, bro. Keep blessing the world with God love. Man, I can't do nothing else. You know where we done came from, Pook. That's all we can do is try to, you know what I mean, give somebody something. So always think about that. Nothing is impossible. But then you take the word impossible and separate it. I'm possible. Man, listen, man. Every day that you wake up, you got an opportunity to do something. You gotta fight for it. And if nothing else, man, listen to me. Keep a multiple of things going. We used to in the joint, we used to be like, man, listen, you keep throwing a couple of rocks at this wall, a couple of different types of stones, you're gonna crack this wall. You dig what I'm saying? And what I'm basically saying is like, look, boom, I got some days where man, the barbershop be going good. Then I got some days where I'm just sitting over there drawing. I'm either drawing on somebody's portrait or either I'm making these designs. I'm making these designs. You see, nice. I am on air, and I think you know this. Unless you want the link. Hold on, watch this. Nice. Nice.
What's good?
You know I'm on air, don't you?
What?
I'm on
Oh
air.
shit!
Yeah, they hear you. Yeah, they everybody hear that you interrupt them. Yeah, they know what you
Okay.
just did. Don't worry about it. I love y'all. G Nice don't. But meanwhile, that's my man from the ball head nuts. So he be talking. We be chopping it up. So I'll guarantee you he's got another crazy idea. But listen, what I'm saying is this: I'm possible. So every day I wake up, I'm trying to figure out, okay, what can I do to better myself or better my brand whether I'm doing the bare truth, whether I'm doing the portraits, whether I'm getting these nightgowns and socks set ready for y'all, or whether, you know what I mean, I'm posting haircuts, trying to, you know what I mean, promote, like, okay, look at these designs, ladies who get their hair shaved and stuff like that, holler at me. You dig what I'm saying? Or if you got a portrait, you got a loved one, you know what I mean, and you want to get a portrait of them done, holler at me. You know what I mean? I put a portrait together, put it in a frame. Um, the lady that I was telling you about that I was in a joint with, uh, Mary L. Cohen, Dr. Mary L. Cohen, she has been a blessing to me, fam. She's been getting me speaking engagements. Okay. And so in March, I got one in Iowa City. I got to talk to these I want to call them like nurses, you know what I mean, that's coming out of grad school and they're getting ready to go into the prisons. So they got a panel together and they want to sit down and talk to somebody, you know, they're going to talk to some doctors, they're going to talk to some important people about how to carry themselves and their conduct, but they put me on the panel of what to expect when you go inside the prison. And so they're gonna pay me to come up to Iowa City and everything. They're gonna pay me to come up there and speak. And so I'm gonna have a few minutes to give my story and tell them, you know, my experience from prison and what kind of advice I can give. And so, you know, these little bitty things I don't take for granted. And then she just called me earlier today. She took a picture from off one of my things. She was like, you know, she's doing it for a profile in the bio. There's a music school that's down here. And so April the 1st, they have invited her to come down here and speak. And she's about to share the stage with me. You dig what I'm saying? And so she was like, you know, they're gonna pay me this, and you know, what cut do you want? You know what I mean? I'll give you this. And that's like, man, she really ain't gotta do nothing but give me nothing because she blessing me. You dig what I'm saying? And so I'm possible. You dig what I'm saying? I just did 15 years in the joint. Only been home next week in March. This matter of fact, this week coming up in March, I got out the halfway house March 1st of 2022. So I don't really count that halfway house time, but for like this week coming up, I want to say Wednesday, I would have been out of prison for like 1 year. You know what I mean? And look at what God has blessed me with. You know, I got my own personal little barbershop. The nightgown thing just took off. It went crazy. I'm doing portraits by Bear. You dig what I'm saying? I got a couple of public speaking engagements. Remember, I had one over there at the school that they just did. And, you know, we got the podcast. You dig what I'm saying? And not only do we just got one, we got the bald head nuts on Wednesdays. You dig what I'm saying? The love versus hate took off on Thursdays. So people is watching it. You dig what I'm saying? Listen and learn on Mondays. The Bible studies, people is rocking with that. So it's just like, look at me, fam. I am not saying I'm better than anybody. I'm just living proof that you can make something happen if you just get out here and do it. And man, I gotta tell you, what will you exchange for change? Man, please don't let it take 14 years. Please don't let it take 14 years. You dig what I'm saying? Please do not let it take 14 years and 8 months in prison before you decide to change. You know what I mean? Because that's what knocked the wind out of me. I just seen somebody I ain't seen in a long time. Eva, what's going down? I haven't seen you. What's up, G Nice? Now you on there talking about already on Wednesdays, bro. It's today. It's Sunday though. Where have you been and what are you doing? But yeah, and so listen, you dig what I'm saying? What do you mean SPZ or 40? Explain that to me. You dig? You know. And so, but at the end of the day though, uh, I mean, I respect SPZ grind so much because he was there. He knew I was doing the Bible studies in prison. So he know when I get out here and I'm going to church, it ain't, and, you know, and that's what works for me, y'all. I'm just gonna keep it a buck with you. That's what works for me. I go to church and shout out to my pastor, Pastor Frank Livingston over there at Mount Sinai. I didn't make it today. Those migraine headaches got the best of me this morning. Didn't go to no club, wasn't out, wasn't drinking, wasn't doing nothing. Just my head felt like somebody hit me with a crowbar. But what I'm trying to say to y'all, let's get back to the music. I am possible. You are possible too, fam. And that's the reason why I do the bare truth because I be trying to show this energy with y'all. You dig what I'm saying? So we can share it. You know what I mean? Because iron sharpens iron. You dig what I'm saying? Like one thing I like about Lakeisha is because when she posts her like little braids and her stuff, I'm so happy that she decided to do a braiding school. Cause I'm thinking to myself, like I cut hair. What if I can holler at sister over here and jump into her school to take some classes and she showed me how to braid or do some dreads? That's just gonna level up. Cause SPZ, you know, if you could braid hair in a joint, you can get money, fam. And I ain't saying, you know, no homo, no none of that. You know, I got a lot of love for the LGBTQ community. Y'all treat me with love. I'm gonna treat y'all back with love. My love comes from Christ, so I love everybody. I'm saying have multiple hustles about yourself. If I learned how to braid hair and use a guy and you need your hair braided and I could put a fresh design in there and line you up on top of that, you think I'm not gonna do it? Okay. Hold on. I want to post this, Jada. So let's speak to it, sweetheart, because that's my sister. Gotta make sure. She said it's hard to change something. It's hard to change something depending on what you're trying to change. Ah, okay. So Jada, then let's go back to this where it says nothing is impossible. But now split the word that says I'm possible. Take the I am off of impossible and says I'm possible. I think sometimes I think I understand where you're going a little bit because you my sister and me and you chop it up and it's some stuff that I just can't say on here because that's between me and you. And here's the thing, people. That's one of the things why I was saying, y'all remember when I was saying something like life is about 10% of what happened to you, but 90% of what you're gonna do about it. You know, and one of the things I could tell you something, Jada. To G Nice just says education is elevation, grind is forever, adapt or go victim. Okay, let me post that up there, G Nice, because I think that makes a whole lot of sense. But Jada says your whole vibe. Now listen to this, Jada. This is what I'm saying, and I want to speak directly into your heart. Sometimes, you know what I mean, this is what I learned about God. And this is the reason why I stick with God. There's a scripture in the Bible where God says, I have taken the weak things of this world to shame the strong. And I have taken the foolish things of this world to shame the wise. And so when I sit back and I looked at that scripture, I I try to figure out like, okay, so what are you saying? And then there was this other scripture that Paul had, in Corinthians where he says, for when I am weak, I am strong. And you know what I mean? And so a lot of times and this is for all of my people that believe in God. A lot of times, God is saying, listen, let go and let me handle the situation. There's a lot of shit that you can't handle. But guess what? It ain't too big for me. Holla, tap me in. Tap in with God sometimes. And I be trying to tell y'all that. That's the reason why I'm so sincere. When I peep out some sin in my life or I feel like I'm messing up, I cut some stuff off just so I can sit back down, pray, get back into my groove because I need to hear from him. Because a lot of times, listen, I'm going to give y'all a true story. Last week, everything went crazy in one day, and it just like blew my mind. All right, I hurt my thumbs at Sterlite, remember? So I had did a workman's comp earlier in February. And so I'm wondering, like, okay, how come this lawyer didn't hit me? I called him and said, could you have such and such hit me back? He didn't hit me back in that week. A week later went by, and then all of a sudden, it, one of his secretaries called me and she was just like, hey, how come you haven't contacted us? How come you haven't sent this paperwork in? And I'm like, what paperwork? So I give her my address and she was like, yeah, that's where we just sent the paperwork to. So then all of a sudden I got to go upstairs because I usually get the mail. So my mom was like, well, you brought all the mail in here. Everything you got is up here. But then I look on this table where all the mail is at and I look through the mail and there the letter is, right? So here it is, February the 20th. This letter then came February the 7th and then boom, they put down the settlement on there. Now, I'm not gonna tell you the number, but this is thousands. After they get done telling me about the settlement for the thousands, the next paragraph, child support has put a lien on your workman's compensation settlement. Like, just I'm talking about, listen, it just, like somebody stabbed me in my heart. You dig what I'm saying? Okay, so there go one blow. You know what I mean? Because I'm thinking like, man, here go this opportunity where God, I get a chance. I'm gonna level up. I've been hollering at my man, Tricky Ricky, my man E. I've been hollering at Paper Paul. I got Donald Hinton. Me and him used to work together. So you know, I'm really trying to get into this real estate. I wanted to jump into this real estate and try to put that up under my belt. Maybe get a house, Airbnb it, or flip it. Child support has put a lien and there wasn't nothing I can do about it. You know what I mean? And I mean, it hurt. I feel you, Jada. God don't close the door without opening the window. Yeah, and I truly believe that. But in that moment, though, Jada, I felt like how you was feeling, though. You did what I'm saying. How do you change? You know what I mean? Because right then and there, I'm mad. You know what I mean? And I'm steaming. You know, soon as I get off the phone with them, all of a sudden, the lady from Banker's Life for the insurance thing, she gives me a call and says, "Hey, the guy is saying that you haven't sent him all the paperwork for his application." So now he done went through my background check and stuff like that. And so when I look on the email, fam is asking me for all kind of stuff that I wasn't even convicted of. And so as I'm talking to her, I'm like, so why is he asking about this? I was found not guilty for this. This case was dropped. She got smart with me. She got to saying, well, I I don't know. You got all of this stuff in your background. She was like, "Have you looked at your background check?" And I said, "Listen, I ain't been in no trouble since 2007." I said, "I done already told y'all about that crime. So if that crime didn't, if that ain't the one that killed the baby, you dig what I'm saying? Well, then you dig. What are we talking about? Because everything else is after that. So you figure 2007. You talking about some stuff in 99 and 2000. You talking about something over 20 years ago that I don't know anything about." I said, you know what I mean? And it was dismissed. So it's not even on my record. So I'm like, I'm mad and I'm frustrated. But she's talking to me like, you black, you got this record. And guess what she tells me? She says, well, don't you think you should have been up front with us, that you should have told us that you had, that your record was this extensive? I said, hold on. You called me. You called and hollered at me and asked me if I would pay for this. If you would pay for the classes, would I take this insurance exam? I said, so when you told me you was gonna pay for it, I jumped in there. I said, now why would I offer you any type of information about a past record that's not even on my record? I got one felony, lady. I said everything else is a misdemeanor. Now all of these arson charges and stuff like that that came back from Americana and all of that foolishness that got dismissed. And I'm talking about everything, stuff that was just dismissed. I'm like, now why would I tell you about something like that? Why would I even put that in my paperwork if it ain't even on my record? I said, and then so the guy who's doing the check, he's also got all kind of fines on me. Like, well, you owe 4,100 and something. Like, I don't owe nobody nothing, fam. When I was in prison, we paid off all of my restitution. Come to find out, it was like $70 that I owe for the bus trip. And I thought that was free. That's about the only thing I can think of. Okay, I'm trying to speed this up so we can get to the last of the last. Now listen to this. So I'm just thinking like, man, do these people really want me to sell insurance? And so not only that, after that went down, then that's when the guy called me back and he had just got in town. He needed to shave head. And he said, I ain't been coming over there because, when I come through, it wasn't so secluded anymore like it used to be. You know what I mean? He was like, and I needed to talk to you. And so now the person that he was saying that was over here, we going through something. And so it's just like now I'm bubbling. I'm just like, man, the whole day you wake up like that, and there go three business ventures that just seem like they about to go to shit. Man, I just prayed. You know what I mean, Jada? And I'm giving this to you because there was nothing I can do about it because I'm telling my mom, you know what I mean? And so I got to go back down to the courthouse and I got to figure this out. You know what I'm saying? And so with the child support thing, I was able to file a motion, jump back into the courts. And so now I got a court date on that to try to, get these people out of my life. Because one of the things he said is, I don't know how much you owe in child support. And he was like, it really don't matter to me. But I do want you to know that if we get this application, he says, once you get past me, he says that child support can say, well, you owe us, and they don't think that you should have your license right now. And I'm like, now how in the hell can child support mess with something over here? He says it can happen because it's a state entity and we are all state entities, and this is what they can do. So I'm like, now I'm really mad. But I prayed about it. The next day, boom, I get up, I go down into the courthouse, let God in. God handled it. The lady down at the courthouse walked me through the situation and and walked me through filing a motion with the judge. Got a court date on March 28th about the child support so I can go back and try to prove where I didn't file taxes, that maybe you might have charged me too much. Maybe see if we can get it modified and break that child support down so it can be feasible so I can pay it off, right? We're going to do that. Get back to the crib. The dude himself. Now I'm reading this email, thinking that he's racist, and then listening to her on the phone, thinking like, y'all discriminating against me. Y'all don't really want me in here. Y'all don't even really know. I started to tell her like, man, I sold dope. You think I can't sell no dumbass insurance? I would stay up to 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning serving hypes. You think I can't serve people life insurance? You think I can't sell this shit? I really wanted to go back to my old stuff. I really wanted to get down on it, right? And so guess what? Dude called me himself. He says, listen, man, he's like, after I went through your stuff, he says, I seen where you was doing that. He says, I like the way that you broke it down. He says, I'm going to send you another email. And he says, don't worry about the things that you didn't get convicted of. He said, because after I looked at it, I went to another screen and seen that this stuff wasn't even on your record. He says, so don't even worry about that. He read off about like 3 cases and said, don't worry about that. With the child support, they might try to give you some smoke. I'm using my terms, paraphrasing. But he was just like, this is what I want from you. You dig what I'm saying? Give me this so I can put you through this process over here. You know what I mean? And he made it so smooth. But the moral of the story is this. Sometimes God, Jada, he's saying, when you feel like a problem is too big for you, ain't nothing too big for God. Think about that little bitty song that seems so cliche or seems so crazy. He's got the whole world in his hands. And a person told me, like, when you say that song, like, and not only is it in his hands, it's like it's in his face. So ain't nothing happening in this world where God don't see it. Ain't nobody saying nothing or doing nothing that God don't see. And he see everything. A lot of times, man, we too busy trying to play God. And that's how it turned out bad, you know? Because I done did it before. You know, I try to play God and I try to put my own twist on it. I want to handle it the way I wanted to handle it. I'm glad I didn't blow up on that lady and say all that. Because like I told y'all before, even if they don't want to hire me at Banker's Life, so what? Give me them insurance license. I go holler at State Farm. I go holler at my guy Ben. Or if nothing else, I'll promote myself from right down here in the basement. Turn up for Christ or burn up for life. Real talk. God gonna take care of me. And that's how I feel. If y'all give me the license or not, God is gonna take care of me. All right, let me try to get through this. I got like about 5 minutes. And don't worry about losing people. This was this quote, and I'm just gonna run through it. And it made so much sense to me. He said, I am who I said I am, but I never said you had to like it. Take that and apply that to your life. I am who I said I am. I never said you had to like it. I gave y'all my record. I told you who I was in my past. You ain't gotta like it. When I run into a female, I tell them what I went to prison for. You ain't gotta like it. You ain't gonna bother me. Cause here's one thing about this. People, I don't worry about what people think about me. Cause a lot of people I don't even think about. I'm not even thinking about you. So why would I care what you think about me? You get what I'm saying? Why would I care what you think about me when I ain't even thinking about you? What you think don't make me, you know what I mean? So I am who I said I am. I never said you had to like me. That's just me, fam. So you figure it out. And listen to this one. This one is really cool. It's better to be a lonely lion than a popular sheep. Now, let me separate this from the Christian life because you know, as Christians, sometimes the Bible tells us to be sheep because the sheep follow and they telling us to follow Christ, right? You dig what I'm saying? And so a lot of times the reason why they tell you to be a sheep is because a sheep, he only thing he'll do is listen to the shepherd voice. So if the shepherd don't tell a sheep that a cliff is right there, the sheep will walk straight off the cliff because he just following. He ain't paying attention to nothing. He just going wherever you tell him to go. You dig what I'm saying? But listen, it's better to be a lonely lion than to be a popular sheep. And what am I saying by that? Sometimes you might lose some friends. Maybe some people don't like what you're doing. But you know what a lion is gonna do? A lion is gonna lead and he always gonna fight for everything in this world. I don't care what it comes down to. He's gonna always fight for it long as he believe in it. You dig what I'm saying? And sometimes you might just have to be alone if you're gonna go through that. You know what I mean? And you gotta think great in order to be great. You can't be great if you don't think great and you ain't doing great things. You dig what I'm saying? You ain't putting great stuff into you. You dig what I'm saying? You ain't doing great stuff with your body. You ain't doing great stuff with your mind. You can't be great. You dig what I'm saying? You can't. All right. And it's one thing that this dude told me, and I thought it was so cool. For the parents, you got kids out here, and you know this generation of kids is, man, they different. We love them, but they different. But they put it like this, man, and this is so sincere. There's so many kids being born a day, and if you look into that nursery where them kids is at, he said, look, one of them kids is gonna be a CEO, one of them kids is gonna be an employee, one of them kids is gonna be homeless, one of them kids is gonna be an addict. You dig what I'm saying? But looking at them right now, they all babies, love, wrapped up in love, and they crying. And you know what they want? They just want somebody to hold them, to love them, and to feed them, and to nourish them. You know what I mean? You got to make sure you know what you're doing to your kids. If you're giving them the right tools to get out here and do what they supposed to be doing. Because if you don't give it to them, how they gonna get it? And if you ain't got it, how they gonna get it? They can't look up and be something that they can't see. So y'all as parents, young parents and stuff like that, cussing and playing this stupid music in front of your kids, and your kids is, you know what I mean? They listening to y'all. You are their leaders. You dig what I'm saying? Remember one of the first quotes that I said, sometimes to be accountable, you got to look at your life through a magnifying glass. Man, look at yourself through a magnifying glass. You know what's right and you know what ain't right, man. Stop playing, man. Everybody, come on, man. Turn up for Christ and burn up for life. Get you one of these bottles, boy. I'm trying to tell you. Put you back together. Grape juice. But it's real, man. Your kids can't be what they can't see. And you can't be great if you ain't practicing great. You ain't doing great things. You ain't got great standards. You ain't got great morals. You ain't even got great respect for yourself. Remember, we was talking like love versus hate. Some people is out here disrespecting themselves. You dig what I'm saying? You disrespectful to yourself because you ain't giving yourself 100%. You ain't trying to win. You dig what I'm saying? If you going to people's house and you just doing the foolery, whether it's just being miscellaneous, stealing, lying, cheating, you cheating on your wife, you cheating on your husband. You dig what I'm saying? You disrespecting yourself because you ain't giving. How you can be great when you ain't even got great standards, morals, and respect about yourself? Not to say all of us is perfect, because I'm not. But one thing I will do, boy, when I see it going wrong, I'm pull out that magnifying glass, man. I look at myself, and that's the reason why I be staying to myself sometimes, man, because my thoughts don't always be right. And a lot of times, man, shoot, you know, if I can't see no progress and nothing else, I ain't gonna keep coming over here if ain't nobody winning and ain't nobody going nowhere and ain't nobody thriving to be great and doing something. Fam, nobody want to be at no pity party. I ain't going over there for that. You dig what I'm saying? Life is too short, man. You know what I'm saying? 3 funerals yesterday, man, where people left this life, man. And every day you wake up, it's a privilege. What you gonna do with your life? We about a minute over 9 o'clock. Listen, man, I love y'all. I hope this was helpful to y'all, man. What will you exchange for change? You got to figure it out, man. If you know something ain't right in your life, man, get rid of it. Bare truth, man. I love y'all.